Okay, we are live. OTNG season 5. Is that where we are, Nils? 5 season.
Yes,
Oh, do
5.
I have 2 sessions of OBS open? That'll be
We're
interesting.
recording double.
Uh,
It's double trouble.
no, looks okay. All right. So we are playing Lords of Mars, a hack of Tunnel Goons, a game inspired by Tunnel Goons, written by Ray Otus. Ray Otus is another one of the podcasters that I listen to with some regularity. This is his nom de plume. So in case anyone's
Is he in
wondering
relation
if
to
he's
Errol Otis?
related, he is not.
Okay.
But he does put out a great zine called Plundergrounds. It's very was, I guess, originally inspired by Dungeon World, and he's been doing other stuff. He's a guy about our age, old school gamer.
Man, he's young.
Yeah.
He's so young, Ethan. He's like just finished his master's. It's amazing.
Yikes.
Um,
Hey,
and
55, I still feel pretty young.
happy
Someday.
birthday! Happy birthday! So tonight we're going to do a play test of Lord of Mars. I'll be running it at a local convention, DundraCon 44, here in beautiful San Ramon, California, over Valentine's weekend, President Day weekend.
Yep.
Yeah.
My wife's such
Same
a
thing
saint
this
that
time.
she sends me to DundraCon on her Valentine's and her birthday weekend. So
Wow.
Jeez.
that's one of the reasons why I married that woman.
She likes the peace and quiet, so it's a win-win.
Yeah, everybody's winning. Sorry, I'm just skimming some notes here.
I'm just gluing together wooden things.
Why don't we go ahead and make a quick introductions for the players? Why don't we start with Nils, since you were here first?
The players or the character? I guess the players.
Yeah.
So this is Nils. I'm not understanding what we're introducing.
Just yourselves. I mean, it's a new
Okay.
season, it's a new session, it's a new whatever.
Yeah.
And we've got Peter. Hey, Peter.
I am here.
Present and accounted for.
Me
And the youngest member of our party, Ethan.
Hi, 34, born just south of the Arctic Circle. It's all good.
Okay. Let's
What?
see. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a couple of characters. And you can see here on the Roll20 a map of Mars. Everybody's familiar with the John Carter Warlord of Mars series, or do we need a recap or a refresh?
I vaguely remember the books, saw the movie.
Okay, so your
recap is bad.
Who knew Mars was flat?
It's kind of up in the Arctic Circle of Mars, and that's one of the reasons why it's flatter in this context. But this is just one region of the planet, a populated region. And when we first learned of Mars, us mere mortal Earthmen, was when John Carter in the 19th century traveled to Mars under strange circumstances and had grand adventures, all documented by the fabulous biographer Edgar Rice Burroughs. And if you haven't read these remarkable pieces of fiction from I think they were written in 1914 or 1917.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it's the first one was, yeah.
There's a remarkably early piece of science fiction that's remarkably entertaining, thrilling, exciting, at least for the first 2 or 3 books, and then I think it kind of descends into pulp if they weren't already pulp to start with. So we're looking here at a map of Mars. There are the 2 great cities, Helium and Zodanga. rivals in every sense of the word, sometimes bitter enemies, and never friends. We're not going to be exploring helium and Zodanga, I think, only because I don't want to lean uh, into the fiction that Disney established through the movies, which I think is good, but I want to, not be afraid to branch out from that. So uh, you are all members or citizens of the city of Dunhor, and Dunhor falls well within the sphere of influence of helium. A puppet state might be too strong a word, but certainly allies and partners in the survival of the red men on Mars. And your company, your party, you and your compatriots have been tasked with carrying out a diplomatic mission to Patarth. And Patarth is much like Dunhor, a partner, an ally, perhaps even a puppet state of Zodanga. But this is a diplomatic mission directly from Dunhor about securing new water rights associated with the survival of your city and trade for mineral riches from Dunhor to Patarth. Dunhor is rich in minerals and poor in water, and Patarth is quite the opposite. Water in Mars is scarce and just as life-giving, just as vital to your survival as Redmond on Mars. But the water doesn't fall from the sky. It's stored in great aquifers and reservoirs deep beneath the surface of Mars itself. Any questions so far about the background or the setting? Great,
No.
great.
Not yet. I do love my carbon dioxide water.
Your fizzy water.
Yep,
You could probably get that underground too.
probably.
Let's see here. So what we're going to do is create a couple of characters, and it's a pretty straightforward process. I've already shared with you the rules for Lords of Mars. You may have had a chance to look over them. They are available on itch.io. If you searched for them, Lords of Mars, Otus, you'd easily find them. They're a pay what you want type of affair. And Ray has no objection if you don't want to pay anything for them, if you just want to check them out or try them out. So here I'm looking at page 3 of the PDF, which is all about how to make a character. And again, I've given you character sheets here on the Roll20. You can grab one of those and use it as you will, or scribble on a piece of paper if you prefer. I do ask that you write something down and record it somewhere so
We can see it.
there's a frame of reference, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there are 3 basic stats in the game: clever, noble, and tough. And when you build your character, you're going to spend 3 points between these 3 stats. It could be 1 in each, or 3 in 1, or some mix of the 2. And then in the PDF, we have a description about what those stats do. And the essential mechanic of the game is a 2d6 roll. And then you add your stat to that roll, trying to beat target numbers like difficulty scores, where an easy might be a 6, but a heroic might be a 12. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So what I'd like you to do is just kind of come up with sort of a concept that kind of fits into the the kind of basic scene and setting that I've established. Nils, you've already taken time and created a character. Maybe you could tell us a little bit about the character that you've created and why. Interesting. All of your text is gray.
Because Tharks are cool, that's why.
Darks are cool. Nils, are you still with us? All right, we'll come back
He's
to
been
Nils.
abducted.
Sorry, I was talking to Eric and I muted myself.
Mm.
So yeah, I'm a green Martian, so I wasn't sure if that's going to work under these conditions. I was actually starting to come up with another character.
That's perfectly fine. We'll just have to figure out how to work your Green Martian into the fiction.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I'm cool with it if
So,
you're cool with it.
That's fine with me. My character's name is Artak Jarkor. He's a young male Thark that has been an adult for a few years, but he's still, very hot under the collar and coming up in the ranks, finding his place in society. But he's large for his age. He's like, most Tharks are like 8 to 10 feet tall. He's more like 12 feet tall. Or excuse me, green Martians. Starks is the specific
specific
tribe, but he
sure.
is a Thark. Yeah, but he is a Thark. But he does it in addition to his physical size. He does, though, also have a cunning mind to know when it's better to use guile than it is to use muscle. But between those two, that's all he needs. He has no time for social graces or skills because that's not the way of a green Martian.
Okay.
So he has a clever stat of 1, a noble stat of 0, and a tough stat of 2.
Okay, let's go ahead. Let's just stop right there. We won't get into all the items and the specials and things like that.
Okay.
So, as a frame of reference for those of you that might not know, green men there are a variety of races or species which live on the surface of Mars, and they're all defined by their color of their skin. Now, remember that this was written in 1900 and something, so the culture which is most like our own here on Earth is that of the red men. And the red men live in beautiful palatial cities with stunning spanning architecture, towers, flying buttresses, bridges, airships, and more. They're a fierce, proud people, the red men of Mars, and
they're human-like, right?
They are human, yes, but their skin has a particular red hue about it. Whereas the green men don't live in cities at all, but they're very nomadic. They wander the wastes of Mars, scavenging what they can and warring amongst themselves and all the other peoples and cultures of Mars. They're raiders, they're brigands, they're
forearmed.
They have 4 arms. They have 4 arms and huge tusk-like teeth, and not and many of the people of Mars fear them greatly, as they rightly should. So those are the green men. That's the character that Nils has decided to run while he reorganizes his kitchen.
It's called laundry.
So maybe you could mute yourself while you're doing laundry.
Sure.
And so with that little bit of background or a little bit of color around Nils's character and seeing how that works, are either of you inspired about a character that you might like to play? You could certainly play an Earthman. John Carter was not the first nor the last Earthman to walk the surface of Mars, or you could lean into, your own vision of Mars and what it is and the character that you'd like to play on this diplomatic mission from Dunhor to Patarth.
I would like to play an Earthman.
Okay, awesome.
Mostly because that will help me work in the fact I don't know what's going on and I don't know anything.
Perfect.
That's what I said.
Perfect. I
Anyway.
love it. Do you have a name for your Earthman?
I'm working on that.
Okay. How about a stat block for your Earthman?
Well, we have clever, noble, and tough. And how do I divide the stats again?
There are 3 points, and you can apply those 3 points to those 3 stats.
You could call him Johnson Carter.
Hey, there you go.
Johnson it is. If that's good for you.
Carter Johnson.
Carter Johnson?
No, I was joking.
Ethan, I'll ask you the same question. Have you got a character concept?
I'm thinking
Now you could be a merchant, a soldier. You could be a noble or a politician. You could be an academic or anything. You can be any. The sky's the limit here.
I'm thinking someone who is of who's of mixed parentage.
But Earth and Mars?
Yeah, Earth and Mars.
Okay.
Who's got kind of a yellowish skin color.
There are I believe there are yellow men on Mars, but you could, and that's certainly fine. You can be of mixed heritage and that, and the result of that, of your parentage has, left you with a less than ruddy glow of the typical the Martian redman.
Indeed.
Slightly paler, a bit yellower than one would suspect. Are you young or old, or a middle-aged man, or are you a man?
I'm a bit of a social curiosity. There aren't many of my kind running around.
There certainly aren't, because is your father's was your father Martian or Terran?
My father was Terran.
Okay. And is your father still on Mars?
My father, if he's still on Mars, I don't know where he is.
Okay. So you haven't seen your father in some time, it sounds like.
Yes, my mother's the one who raised me.
They're in Dunhor, am I right?
Indeed.
And what was her role within the city? How did she raise you?
I was raised amongst the other noble children, but always kind of an outcast amongst the noble children.
Okay. Is your mother a peer to the court of Dunhor?
Yes.
Okay. So so you come from a noble line.
Partial noble line, anyway.
Okay. Yeah. It's like, what do they call that? A lesser line, right?
Exactly.
So from a lesser noble line. And
some call me bastard behind my back, but
And what do they call you to your face?
I call him bastard to his
face. They call me Leo.
Leo, I love it. And Leo, are you a courtier, or do you do something? Are you otherwise engaged about the city of Dunhor?
I do my duties as a courtier, but I mostly prefer spending time amongst the people in the marketplace.
Okay, so a bit of a trader, it sounds like. A merchant.
Indeed. Yeah.
A merchant with some sway, some influence, some...
Exactly.
An ear, if not a reluctant one, within the court halls. Okay, I like it.
Exactly.
And Leo, do you have an idea about what you might do with your stat block?
Yeah, I'm thinking I'd like to do 1 in noble
Okay.
and then 2 in clever.
Okay.
Not a particularly tough or strong guy, but I got my father's brains and my mother's nobility
I
and
love it.
grace.
Okay, perfect. So, Johnson, when did you come to Mars?
Well, I'm a fairly young man, being just not quite 30 yet.
And from
I
where do you
came to.
originally hail, Johnson?
I come from the Boston, Massachusetts area.
Boston!
Father was.
Boston.
That's right. My father was a Civil War veteran.
As were
Family
many,
didn't have a
yep.
lot of money, as were many, right?
Hmm.
And I didn't have a lot of money. Wasn't raised in a great area. Crime was a natural place to go, and I was in and out of trouble a lot, and became a bit of a second story man. And
Mm.
the old professor who disappeared, apparently gone to Mars and knocked some Martian girl. I had broken into his house and I had found an object, and it was one of those things that you fall asleep in the ether, and you're pulled upon the ether, and you're in Mars.
Oh, good. I was going to ask you about how you had came upon how you found yourself in on on
Martian
Mars,
soil.
on Martian
Yeah,
soil, and quite
not
often it
planned.
happens through. You've heard tales of it occurring through near-death experiences, though
Hmm.
finding yourself in possession of a strange object has also pulled many Earthmen from terra firma to Mars proper. Marta proper? I don't know what would be the right terra firma relationship for Marta proper.
Yeah, it was
Uh,
a beautiful, beautiful red rock sphere he had in a glass case, and intrigued,
mm,
picked it up, fall down unconscious, wake up, you're on Mars.
right. Okay. I love this this image in my mind of Johnson breaking into this well-to-do homestead there in Boston and coming upon this art object and then touching it and finding himself waking up on Mars. And how long
And
ago
that was
was
a that was a couple of years ago.
a couple of years ago? So
So
Hmm.
you've
I've
kind of
made some
established
relationships.
yourself here.
Yeah.
You kind of understand the people and the culture a little better than someone that just woke up in the place, right?
Hmm.
Okay.
And
But I
that
still have this nagging feeling in the back of my head that I'm going to wake up on Earth and this will have all been a dream.
Right, right. You're almost like waiting for that to happen.
Exactly.
and that guy whose place you broke into definitely wasn't Leo's father. Nope.
Probably. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
Okay, okay. Um, so, and you now find yourself in Dunhor. Have you recently come to this city, or or is this the home that you've established for yourself?
This is the only city I really know because I woke up not far from here.
Okay.
And so this is where I don't really know much about the rest of Mars. I've heard things because people talk about it and have,
Hmm.
you know, been kind to a lost Earthman and told me stories and helped me learn the languages and everything.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, and I've got a 2 in clever and a 1 in tough. So
Okay.
um,
Two in clever and one in tough. I like it. And
uh,
uh,
I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid to scrap, but I'd really rather plan things and work my way out so that it never has to come to that.
okay. Um, so
But I'm quite happy with the fact that being a human, I'm much stronger than I was on Earth.
right, exactly. That was one of the things that I wanted to point out was that um, much like all Earthmen that come to Mars, the gravitational effects are different upon your body, and which leads to feats of superhuman strength, endless endurance, uh, and some even the ability to jump great distances. we're not going to worry about that right now. I just wanted to call it out. And another thing I wanted to call out about the map is that these dotted lines that are between the cities, those are essentially, they're not roads, but
They represent trade connections, don't
they
they?
do represent trade connections, but from airships, because
That was it.
the surface of Mars is basically a wasteland of desert. There are some mountains. There is a forest here, and the swampy marshlands, which draw off much of the water to the underground cisterns. There is a river, the last surface river on Mars itself, and much of the surface of Mars is crisscrossed by the canals that had once been overflowing, lush and abundant. Let's see here. Artac. Hearing about Leo and Johnson, have you come up with any other idea why you might be amongst their company about to embark on this diplomatic errand?
Well, one thing could be that depending on how they're traveling there, their airship could go down and encounter myself out in the wasteland.
Okay, so you're thinking it might.
That's something that's.
Sure, we could. Why don't we do that? Let's go ahead and finish up with the character creation. We've there.
1912 was the debut.
Was the publication. Okay, I think I have a copy I have a little hardback copy from 1917.
Wow.
Yeah, it's super cool. It's not like it's not like a first edition. It's not a first edition, but it's still pretty darn cool.
Still fucking cool.
You've got a first edition hardback?
No, I'm saying 1912 was when it was serialized in a pulp. It was published as a hardback in 1917. So you might have, if it's an actual first edition.
Yeah,
well, it might be.
Really giving us a book.
It might be.
Now, let's remember, though, he was a Confederate veteran of the Civil War.
John Carter. Yep.
Yeah.
Of Virginia. A Virginia man.
Yep.
So we can forgive him. At least he wasn't a Texan.
So we've started kind of fleshing out our characters. We've given our characters names. We have Johnson, Artac, and Leo, an Earthman, a Greenman, and a Redman. You all start with 12 health. You have a carrying capacity of 8 items. It's called load in this game. You have 8 load. And you're going to begin the game with 2 inventory items in your possession. But the next thing I want you to think about is what makes your character special. When we look at Artac, he has, as specials, he has extra arms and exceptional size. When we think about Leo, what makes him special? These are remarkable things that set your character apart. They can be artifacts, they can be scientific artifacts, they can be some fearsome, something fearsome about your character, special training, evolutionary advantage like the Greenmen. But you want to make sure that they're specific and not general. So psionics wouldn't be something good, but Mantos mind meld would be very good. And Gadgeteer would be too broad, but having the anti-gravity belt of the ancients, that would work.
Okay.
So while you while you two are pondering that, I'm just going to take a quick bio and I'll be right back with you. I'm sorry.
Sure.
Yeah, I have no idea where to go with this.
That could be interesting.
What's that?
Maybe the mixed heritage
has
led to some kind of evolutionary ability.
I think so. I think it's a good idea.
And then I was going to go with his father left him some kind of artifact or amulet or something.
That's good. Your Johnson's Earth heritage would give him the super strength.
Exactly. So that's what makes
that
me
would be one.
Yeah. I thought it might be fun to be a supernumerator. He doesn't even know why he's good at doing math in his head.
Yeah.
He just naturally does it, but it doesn't do it good. He comes from a largely illiterate background,
Yeah.
and nobody around him reads or writes, so this is just something he can do.
Have you seen The Tick? The new Amazon
No,
Tick?
not the new one.
Okay.
No.
Never mind.
Spoon. Is it good?
Yeah. Yes, very good.
I enjoyed both the original live action and the original animated. Good.
And the second season, because they joined their hero team, really has strong Venture Brother vibes.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I just finished watching a couple weeks ago my Blu-ray of Johnny Quest, so it was nice to catch up all those and go, God, that was a racist show. It was just 1969, it's just America was a very different country.
All right, I am back.
I think we're losing Nils to the Cylons.
Oh, okay. Let's see if he's swapped.
No, he's sounding a little electronic at the moment.
Might be his
Sounds like a Thomas Dolby album.
It might be his battery on his headset dying.
Could be. Or even more, Stan Ridgway.
Right.
I wish I was in Tijuana.
He may be away from his phone or away from his headset too. How about the specials, Leo? I think you are starting to
ruminate. He has some ideas.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I just muted Nils. We'll let him know he can come back when he's complaining.
So,
yeah, poor guy's all cracked.
One of Leo's specials is a byproduct of his mixed heritage between his mother and father. Is he was born with the ability the oral eye. He can see people's emotional auras around them. So when someone's happy, they kind of emit a little bit of a gold glow around them.
Okay.
And when they're sad, there's a little bit of a blue.
Okay.
Ooh, how about when they're being dishonest? Can you see that?
They're black.
Nice.
Okay. I like that.
And then his other special is an artifact. It's his father's compass.
Oh.
I'm still hearing loud noises. Are you guys hearing all that?
Oh, you know why? Because I muted him. I muted him myself. You have to mute him yourself. So you just right-click him on the.
There we go.
Did you figure out how to do that, Peter?
I'm looking at it. No, it's not on Roll20. Oh, it's in Discord. So I go onto his picture and I click the.
Yeah, and it should. You have to right-click it, which is 2 fingers on the Mac or the mouse button.
Yes. Aha! Thank you. Oh, that's better. God.
Yeah. So the second special is at his coming of age ceremony. Leo's mother gave him the one treasure that Leo's father had given her before he vanished, which was his old compass. And Leo's mother told him that if he should ever be lost, it would lead him to his father. Leo hasn't figured out how to make that happen.
Right.
But he believes his mother.
Okay.
I thought you were going to say syphilis. That's a much better story. The gift my father gave my mother. The clap.
Okay, so Leo has his father's compass, which is presupposed to lead him to his father should the need arise, and a latent psion ability to sense
Yeah.
people's emotion. You might call it their EQ, their emotional quotient, through
In a
like
sense.
an
Yeah.
aura
Yeah.
ability.
Yeah, the red men and the nobility call it the oral eye.
The oral eye. Okay, very cool.
Meaning you hear with your eye. Very interesting.
Johnson, how about you?
Well, for one thing, I'm a human. I'm from Earth, and so I'm strong as hell.
Oh,
Compared
strong.
to what you would assume. I mean, I'm stronger than I'm a little guy, especially compared to the green men and the red men. Those guys are buff, if I recall correctly.
Yeah,
Anyway,
they're fit.
but
They're fit. They're svelte.
because everybody runs around pretty much wearing nothing but bondage and discipline gear.
Exactly.
I remembered some of the
Because we knew how
descriptions going,
burros
wow,
rode. Yeah.
well, it's right. But I remember some of the descriptions and I was like, 12 and going, that sounds so cool. All chains and leather, just leather straps and a chain ring in the middle.
Right.
Now you go, yeah, that's bondage gear.
Right. Right.
But on
It's
top of
amazing how
that,
times change.
I do have basic literacy. My father insisted that we all know how to read, and at this point in America, just after the Civil War, actually was a very literate time in American history. Almost every house had apparently a Holy Bible and works of Shakespeare. What a combination! But for some inexplicable reason, it does me no good on Earth, and who knows what good it'll do me here on Mars. I'm a supernumerator.
A
I can just
supernumerator.
I can just do amazing math in my head.
Oh, wow. I love it. So, and that's quite a remarkable skill, because there are no computers or machines
Right.
on Mars, but your mind, when it comes to math, works like one. Uh,
Right.
it can,
Human mentat.
yeah, have cross-referenced arrays. Nils is back, and you can unmute him safely. He is no longer
Yay!
a cyborg plaguing our Martian Discord channel
God, he was mixing concrete there for a while.
with his teeth.
Little do we know, Johnson has a little pocket calculator hidden away when no one's paying attention.
That's it. It's on my iPhone.
Right,
Exactly.
right. So Nils had just suggested you're almost like very much like a mentat, right?
Yeah, exactly. That.
Super
In
cool.
fact, the first calculators were human beings.
Right. Um,
hmm
and
You're a
then
mathlete.
Yay!
as as a mathlete, and then as a reminder, Artax's specials are the extra arms and exceptional size. So we're almost done with our character creation. Let's see here. The last thing we'll do is choose two quote unquote mundane items to carry in your inventory. You can see some examples of those on page 5 of the PDF. But you all begin with food tablets for 1 week.
Have some water.
Pardon me. Food tablets for 1 week and a flask of water for 2 days. Those are the first two things that would be written in your inventory. You also wear a leather harness, which covers your bits as it is appropriate, or
Which is not at all.
right. I mean, come on, we're all adults here, and it's hot. It's hot on Mars.
It is.
So you can choose any items here from the sample list, or let me know if there are other types of basic items you might like to start with. And
No, kitty, it's my pot pie.
in terms of weapons, there's no very Mars is a martial society in all cultures. Uh, Duels of honor and ritual are commonplace. They happen nearly every day in the streets in the city of Dunhur, as they do in other places. They may be fights to the death are not uncommon to defend your home, honor, or city. Melee weapons are the honorable choice, but they're also pistols and rifles, but they're radium. They're not black powder. It sort of throws a radium slug an infinite distance as far as the eye can see and then farther. Armor is extremely uncommon, and if it's worn at all, it's a helmet or perhaps a buckler. Anything more is a sign of weakness. So, Artak, what basic items have you selected for yourself?
I have selected a sword and a radium rifle.
Okay.
Nice.
Cool. How about for you, Leo?
I carry the common rapier of my nobility.
Okay.
And a bit of a shoulder cape.
That would be clothing. You can use it as one of your common items if you like, but maybe it's something a little more befitting of your office, right?
Yeah,
of your
it's something more that the nobility wear. It kind of signifies that I am of the nobility.
Okay, why don't you maybe write down noble cloak or something
noble
along.
Cloak. Okay.
How about for you, Johnson? Have you any ideas about your?
I've got a saber and a radium pistol.
Oh, a saber and a radium pistol. I love it.
I used to have a John Carter miniature many eons ago. He had a saber in one hand and a pistol in the other.
I've got a few floating around. It's something that I've wanted to do in miniature for a long time, and I've kind of got some of that collected. All right. So any questions about the characters or any of this stuff?
No, I'm just hoping
to.
You're going to say, Nils?
I was going to say, I had another idea of how my green men can be worked in if we didn't want to do the crashed airship.
Sure. What's that idea?
The other idea is that there is no airship. They need to travel over land, and I'm going to be their escort across the land because most red Marshmans don't travel by land.
Okay, yeah, I like that idea even better. So let's go ahead and get started with the game, and we'll do the opening scene.
Excellent.
Leo and Johnson, is it safe to say that you know one another, that you're
yes
at least casually acquainted, if not more so?
I don't meet many Earthmen, and one who is, I'm intrigued. Did he know my father?
Right. Tell me about Earth and then those types of things, right?
Tell me about this magical place my father came from. My mother tells me stories, but
all Earthmen know each other, so.
Indeed.
It's a small place.
Very small.
Excuse me, Jasum.
Do you know my cousin Eddie?
The nobles, the really high and mighty, all say you're a bunch of meat sacks, but
Okay, so the day begins much like any other in the city of Dunhard. There have been troubles of late. The city and the trade routes about the area have been plagued by pirates. Airships flying black banners with no city marking, and it's almost it's not quite siege-like, but it's getting there. And water is scarce and in short supply. The water season is not for many, many, many moons yet. And Leo, what business are you engaged in the marketplace this morning? Are you buying or selling or making some other arrangements?
I've got a little bit of money and I'm looking for a morning treat.
Ah, okay. So down
he's in a brothel.
One of the bakeries. You and I have different ideas about treats. Clearly.
I wasn't going to say it.
I'm sorry.
And
both things could work out.
You're enjoying your morning breakfast and watching the market, begin its general and regular rhythm and thrum. Johnson, how do you wake this morning?
I'm down in the market getting my breakfast, getting some fresh fruit, and it's because we have a mission today, right?
Right, and you see Leo there, and um, perhaps you join him, would you?
Absolutely.
Okay.
We've met before.
Right, yeah. Right. And you're probably having that kind of casual morning conversation about um, the exploits of the night before and the plans for the coming day. When a page hurries up and whispers in your ear, Leo, summoning you to the court on an urgent errand. And it's been some time since you've been in the presence of what is the highest title here in
the
the
High
Jedek?
Duke.
Thank you. Thank you. See, it's super helpful to have Nils playing this because he's super into the whole genre.
I don't want to step on your narrative. So.
You're not stepping on my narrative at all, and
you're the fact checker.
Don't worry about that.
Checker.
You can just you can throw those ideas in, and what I want to make clear is that you can throw those ideas, those vocabularies, those details in.
Please do.
Not just Nils, but you guys as well, right? So the page summons you to the court. The Jedek has commanded your presence on an urgent mercantile matter. What will you do, Leo?
Friend Johnson, I'm afraid my duties call me elsewhere.
Didn't we have a mission? Or we don't have it
yet. So you're going to abandon your companion and seek out the Jeddak in his palace. Is that right?
Before the page leaves, I turn to him. Did the Jeddak, is that what it is?
Jeddak. Jeddek. Jeddak. Kind of like Jedi Jeddak. With a K.
Okay, Jeddak. Did the Jeddak request that I come alone?
He summons you, my lord. He summons you.
Well, today he summons me and my companion.
I'll go with you.
And the page goes hurrying off before you.
And as I stand up to leave with my friend, I turn to D. Baker's amazingly gorgeous daughter and wink at her.
Ah, right, of course, as any good Red Martian would do. Is there anything that you want to do before you enter the Jeddak's palace? Either of you gentlemen?
Hey, I want to clean up a little, wash my hands, make sure I'm not too
presentable.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Mm-hmm.
Good. Let's see. Remind me of the stats. Clever, noble, and wit.
Oh, out of curiosity, while I'm thinking about it, as the page was talking to me, what color aura did I see around him? What kind of emotion was I sensing?
Very like a very soft yellow, neutral.
Okay.
A boy about an errand.
Sure.
Maybe a little brighter when he came into your presence. As as the common folk are when they're about nobility.
Sure, a little bit of anxiety and nervousness, but also some
excitement.
Excitement, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so the two of you enter the hall of the Jeddak through two big, huge, tall, narrow um, red marble doors. There's no fanfare about the court this morning. A few courtiers are uh, waiting on their Jeddak, answering his summons and doing his bidding. And when he sees you enter, Leo, he stands up and calls out, "Leo! And who is this that you've brought with you?"
This is a friend. He hails from
Boston,
the other world.
Massachusetts. I've heard of you, Johnson. Well met, fellow. And Leo, tell me about your mother. How is she? And you kind of engage in some courtly pleasantries.
Yes.
What you learn from the Jeddak is um, that Dunhar is running dangerously low on water and needs to make an agreement with Patarth, trading some of your valuable minerals in exchange for these uh, some uh, some water rights, a water transfer that will see the city through to the next water season, when the aquifers refresh, and hopefully the next season will be better than the last.
Aren't those of Patarth? Aren't they just puppets to Zidanga?
Well, and let's see. Yes, well, it's like, don't talk about that here. The walls, they have ears, Leo. Have you been away from the court so long?
Yes. Yes, I know.
And he's like into his bantering and drinking, but you can sense from his aura, a blackness, a certain blackness and tension about him. So he bids you to depart as soon as possible for Patarth, but he gives you no funding or op, or transport. He knows you can do that you can do this on your own.
Well, it's the test of every true man.
Well, of every true noble to be able to
way.
fund themselves, right?
Exactly.
Because if you were anything less than noble, you wouldn't be.
Exactly.
Right.
Part of service to the Jeddak.
Right, especially in service to the Jeddak. He does give you like a sort of what might be considered legal documents on Earth, kind of scrolls and ribbons and things that
There's a wax seal.
Yeah, things that that are done in exchange of for these types of mercantile transactions, because this is just exactly that, one big mercantile transaction. Water for iron.
Yes.
So we're playing Catan.
Yes. Where's the sheep? I mean, Tharks. I mean, what are the thoats?
Could also be terraforming Mars.
We could also be terraforming.
Not Kalots. Kalots are the dogs.
Thoats, aren't they thoats?
Thoats, yes, thank you.
The dogs, I love the dogs. They were like super, super fast, if I recall.
In the movie, that was their shtick. I don't remember them being fast in the book, other than just like fiercely loyal and.
They're called relentless.
Relentless, yes, relentless. Yeah. Another good word.
I love the one in the movie. Oh my God, I want one of those. I love the movie.
I think the movie was.
You have two dogs. You just combine them together, and there you go.
Good call.
The movie was quite good. I think that it could have been oh so bad, but there are only moments of it where I cringed a little bit. So Leo Johnson, what's your plan? How will you make this journey to Ptarth?
Well, from what I hear, it is not safe to go by air. The
No,
air
not with the
pirates are getting more
raiders.
and more active.
Mm-hmm.
I say, we go under. I say we go across land.
Mm. And we're saying this right in front of the Jetak and realizing that we shouldn't be discussing this in front of him.
Okay.
Oh, why can't he know?
Well, it's not courtly procedure.
Oh, I see.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
All right.
You're almost kind of like dismissed at this point, right?
Right.
Yeah.
He's on to the next problem, the next intrigue, um, the next thing that hangs the life of his city by a thread.
Yeah.
Such is the life of a Jeddak of Mars.
Let's
I don't
take
like
this
to know.
conversation back to breakfast.
Perfect. Now, if only we knew a green man. Wait,
A guide.
we need a guide.
You do know that there are there is a there is a there is a Thark.
Local travel kiosk.
Yeah, there is a Thark that has availed himself of the city upon occasion. He 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 resides in the mountain pass just outside of Dunhor. He's kind of alone and solitary from what
Well,
you hear, though perhaps he has gathered more of his fellows about him. These green men, it's always difficult to say. They're as willing to cut your throat as they are grease your palm
Mm.
with the spoils of their raiding.
Well,
he sounds perfect.
indeed.
We'll hire him. Let's
Mm.
go there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Anything you want to do before departing the city, or are you going to make your way out of the city to find the green men in the hills around Dunhor?
I think I'm good. It's not like I have any money on me. I've got some food. I got some water. I'm
Mm-hmm.
armed.
Yeah, and that's much the way men of Mars approach things. There's action to be taken. We'll take it.
Yes.
Yeah,
I
it
bid
always reminds me
farewell.
in hindsight of Spartans. The whole idea is like, all
Right,
right, here's the mission.
right.
Yeah,
Very
bid farewell to the baker's daughter and whisper something in her ear that Johnson can't hear, and
okay.
then walk off with him.
Okay.
I'm curious, what is the travel time across land between Dunhere and Ptarth? Is 1 week's of rations enough?
Um,
It is
1800,
now.
18,
Well, we're gonna.
it's 1800 hands, right? Oh no, hads. What's a Martian had?
Depends what you gave him.
Martian had.
That's bad.
Unit of measure.
I do. As the guy who's heading out on this mission, I do assume that the guide is going to be able to keep us in water, know where the oases are between. So
About 2,000 feet.
A had is
So
had is a Martian equivalent of a mile, which is
Okay.
roughly 200 ads, and an ad is 10 sophads. A
oh,
sophad is
gee.
equivalent to a Martian foot,
See, now
or
if they just
roughly
said Sofads,
11.694 Earth inches. So say at the Barsoomian fandom, or ERB for short.
if they
So
just said Sofads, we know what that meant.
it's 1,800 miles, so it's quite a ways
Oh,
to go by land.
yeah.
You could do it mounted, 1,800 miles. How far is it across the U.S.?
I was about to say, hang on.
3,000
Let,
miles?
3,000
let me do
miles?
some quick math here.
I think we should take an airship partway and then go down and land and have the Green Man help guide us in the dangerous parts where the airships might get attacked, and they would.
I was like, or we're on an airship and we get attacked by pirates.
Sure, we can do that too. I like Nil's story about looking for an overland route or whatever. He was our guide.
Yeah.
But if speed is of the utmost importance in this situation, then we may have to go by airship.
There's a secret underground waterway.
You guys aren't under a specific clock, right? It doesn't have to happen tomorrow. If you choose to go overland, then yes, that's possible, though it's dangerous. Going over, the Martian wastes are a rough and desolate place. Beasts beyond those of the Greenmen stalk those lands. So yes, you could go overland. You could certainly also take an airship. That would be the fastest way to get there. You'd be at your destination within hours rather than weeks. But the Jedex entrusted you to this errand, and he knows that you will achieve it, or you will be in
Never
his
be heard from
service.
again.
You will be in his service no longer, Leo. And your mother would likely be cast out of the court. It's all this.
It's this whole big deal.
Yeah, it's this whole thing.
All right.
Well, friend Johnson, by air, by land?
One if by land, two if by sea.
The
three if
logical
by
thing
air.
Is to go by air and to get there quickly. But as we have heard, it is almost the point of being a siege, and I do like the idea of slipping in under. So if speed is important, I think we can go at least partway on an airship. But I like the idea of going overland, despite the fact it's longer. But if we have a guide like who's a Green Man, I think we have a good chance of surviving it.
Because you know that probably both Helium and Zodanga are not interested in having alliances between the two cities. So by going by land, it will help hide our diplomatic mission. But I'm not even knowing.
Absolutely.
So did I hear the plan was by land?
Yes, we were going to go find this Green Man that has made his services available to the city before.
Okay, right. So you strike out from Dunhor after breakfast and hike up into the hills surrounding Dunhor, and it's quite beautiful and stunning, like kind of the inverse of the Grand Canyon, maybe, in terms of the mountains and the coloring and these types of things. But it's not, and it's you've nibbled one of your food pills for a lunch, as is common when you're away from a city or traveling, such as you are, and when you hear the roar of a beast, what will you do? You hear one echoing through a ridge, and then you hear an answering call. What will you do?
Well, I have my pistol out because I'm concerned. I don't know what any of these things sound like. So this could be, it could be the equivalent of a horse to me, or it could be a lion. I don't know. I just know it's a loud thing. So
I have my rapier drawn.
Okay.
Does Leo know what this sound? Does it sound like something Leo knows?
Sure. Why don't you make a let's see, it would be, we'll say, Leo, you spend little time outside of the city, is that right? You can make a wit challenge at a moderate difficulty of 8.
You might know what an 8-legged horse sounds like.
So wit is clever, right?
Wit is, pardon me.
I have clever, noble, and tough. Those are
Oh,
the 3
pardon me, I
stats.
wrote the wrong one. Yes, it's clever. Pardon me, not playing the wrong game over here. It's 2d6. I've written a macro and shared it with you guys if you want to put it in the bar. Or you can just key it to the chat.
And my clever is 2, so I add 2 to the roll.
You add 2, yep. 9, yes. So you do recognize that roar from the zoo of Dunhor. It's a banth. Banth is kind of the equivalent to a lion here on Mars, and you can tell that one's to your left and another's to your right. What will you do?
It's a banth, one of those big furry things with hair on its neck.
Yeah, that's a carnivore.
Mm-hmm.
Which one sounds closer?
We've got one coming from the left and the right. The left. Definitely the left.
Okay. You can tell by my aura that I'm shit scared, but I'm going to
be... His aura is brown.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So I'm going to be watching to take aim on this thing if it breaks cover, and I'm listening for movement of this thing.
And I'm kind of ducking down a little bit, so his pistol's over my head.
Okay.
I wouldn't shoot through you. Maybe. I might panic. And there's not cover or anything we can climb, right? There's not trees. It's all freaking rocks and dirt. It's like being in Arizona.
Right. Yeah. I mean, there's hills and there's ridges and things like that.
But no place we can get easy cover. Like
go ahead and make a clever challenge. Okay. Moderate.
So +2, so that's a 6.
You didn't beat it, and yeah, you're in a bad position here as the first of these beasts comes like scurrying down like a very steep ridge line.
Escarpment.
Escarpment, yes, that would be even a better word. I put a picture of a banth in the Discord chat, drawn by one of my favorite artists, Franzetta.
Hey, look, it's blue. Those ones are rare.
Oh, one of my favorites too.
I know, it's so good.
God, and this guy just blew this shit out too.
I know. It's so.
He would have a job for like 2 months, and then he would blow it out in 3 nights.
Right.
And they're just stunning. Death Dealer's still one of just my. And the Conan covers. If he did them, I bought them. Just I had to have this Conan's. Okay, I'm taking a shot as soon as I can.
Okay.
I'm gonna try to lead it towards lead. So if I miss, it's gonna shoot in front.
Okay, so you're are you taking careful aim, or are you trying to drive it off?
I'm taking careful aim because this thing's moving towards us.
It is. It's like coming down this very steep ridge, like kind of like how a cat would, go down a post or something, like
sure.
very kind of scurry, but it's got 10 legs, so it's like even 10 times of freaky.
Yeah, and with all those claws and big teeth. Look at the damn teeth, and you can't outrun them.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna try and jump over it if it comes towards me, but
Oh, right. Interesting. And Artak, you're about what is it? A had away?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not a had, half a had. on the other side of
a
on
hat
the
and
other
a ham.
side of this on the other side of this
I
valley,
had been.
and you can see these these two fellows that are about to be lunch for a a, a band. Are you alone, or are you with any companions?
Um, I am. I'm alone. I'm out hunting.
Okay.
Well, we got something for you to hunt.
What will you do, Artak, as you see this this band come shimmering down this near vertical cliff face towards these fellows. One of them is
Right.
drawing a
Well,
pistol.
actually, I had been tracking both of this pair of bands for
Ah,
some
that's what you had
time,
been
and I
hunting.
will, I will not let these redmen steal my kill.
Okay.
So I will try to shoot one with my radium rifle.
Okay. So you're like setting up a firing position there.
Yeah.
Uh, and it sounds like you're a little bit higher than than the you're I see you in my mind's eye. It's like a slightly more elevated position than the scene that's
Right.
transpiring out there below you, some
Hmm.
half mile away,
Hmm.
800 meters away, and you could get down there, but your rifle could get down there quicker. So you
Yes.
so you snap off a shot at this at the prize that you've been stalking all morning.
Hmm.
Okay,
And I
cool.
roll. And then I add my
You roll 2d6
what?
and you add your
And do I add, that's what I just realized. There really isn't a stat for
Would that be your toughness?
no, but
range.
you do add one for the rifle
Okay. So that'd
because
be a 10.
I didn't hear anything tough that you were doing about how you're making the shot or anything clever about
Correct.
how you were making the shot.
Mm,
Yes, that's
I
true.
see. I see.
It was just the fact of taking the shot.
Yeah. So I roll a 10 total.
A 10 total crack and
I see a spurt of blood come out the side of the thing's head, and it just stops moving.
well,
What the hell was that?
that's what you thought you were going to see as you go ahead. That what you
Because I haven't shot yet.
a shot rings out just before you take
Take my
your
shot.
shot.
Yeah.
I may have. Why don't you go ahead and take your shot there, Johnson? It's 2d6 plus one for your
Pistol.
pistol. Let me make sure I'm doing this right in terms of combat.
Oh, you know what I have to do here? That's part of the problem because it's a new game.
3D dice.
I can't play without 3D dice.
I know, right?
So that's a 6. Probably
Yeah,
a miss.
it's the other shot that startled you, which didn't
Right.
quite allow you to it's like it made you jump almost and pull the trigger before you brought the barrel in line.
Let's see.
Let's
I don't mind if someone else shot this thing. You know what? My ego's not involved.
let's see. Sorry, just skimming some notes here about how combat works.
Hopefully in our favor.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Okay, Banth food. And now, and at the crack of the two radium rounds, the Banth just leaps off of its position, and then it's down there amongst you. And Artak, when you fired, you saw come uh, creeping out of the rubble a second Banth.
Hmm.
This is the one that you had been stalking initially, who you thought you had been getting close to, but now it's terribly close to you. It's not upon you yet, but it could be soon.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's closer to me than it is to them?
It is. It's much closer to you.
Okay.
It's maybe, it's, it's probably leaps. It could probably a run and a leap, and then it could be on you.
Right. Okay.
Leo and Johnson, this thing is like right down there with you. What will you do?
Pull out my saber and go two-handed saber pistol.
Oh, saber and pistol.
Oh yeah.
I'm waiting for it to come charging, and I kind of position myself so that it will kind of almost spear itself upon my blade.
Right, as a rapier.
That only works in murder hobos.
As a rapier man, as a rapier duelist is wont to do.
Mm-hmm.
Throw yourself on my blade, scum.
Fool.
All right. Sword and pistol, that's +2, and then tough. So that sounds like +3 for Johnson. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Because I got it.
Yes'm.
I got it. Yes'm. I got a tough one.
Right on. Go ahead and make your roll. 7.
7 + 3 is 10.
10. Oh, not enough.
What do I need?
He rakes you across the. You need a 12.
Okay.
That's why you guys are Banth food. So.
Well, we need to practice rolling up characters.
We do. We need to practice. We need to practice the game, right? So, which is exactly what we're doing. He rakes you like with a big paw and causes you 2 damage.
Damn you.
Damage you.
What are you doing, Artak?
So now that I've have one of my own to deal with, I will switch to my. Well,
he's not a melee with you yet. You could certainly charge down to melee and fight him. He's some distance away from you. Maybe let's call it. He's 20 meters from you.
Right. Okay. So I'm going to. I'll as I run down to charge him and draw my weapon with one pair of arms, I'm going to sling my rifle with my other pair of arms.
You're going to sling your rifle.
Right. So I'm putting my rifle away and drawing my weapon as I charge him.
Okay. So he charges up to meet you, and go ahead and make your attack roll.
And you have this big undertusk sticking out from your lower jaw.
You are. I was going to give you some modifiers, but what's your tough?
Only a 2, so it'd be a 9 right now.
And then you have swords, so that's another +1, so that's +3. And you're really big, and you've got extra arms. Why would any of those give you an advantage in this fight?
Well, I can use my size. You already gave me some extra strength, right? Is that right?
I gave you your tough, and I gave you your sword. So I think that's
okay.
+2 for tough, +1 for
extra strong.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I'm extra strong.
Oh, so that's a +1, so you're up to +4.
Right. And then my extra arms, that while one pair of arms is stabbing, my other pair of arms is grabbing the lion and like pulling him, trying to pull him onto the sword using Ethan's trick.
Okay.
The self-impaling trick.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So I see you as being probably about as big as a Banth yourself.
Right.
So let's see. We started with tough 2, a sword, extra arms, and extra strong, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's +5.
Okay. Well, I got a 12 then.
Nice.
That's even. So you're just kind of holding him at bay right now.
Right. Okay.
It's like green arms and teeth and fur and lots of claws.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Leo, what do you want to do?
So it has run towards Johnson, right? And
It's fighting Johnson, yeah.
And I'm very close to Johnson, right?
You're reasonably close, yes.
Yeah. I would like to try and yeah, let me take a look at the picture so I can make sure I get this right.
Mm-hmm.
Knowing that all creatures have a specific weak point, be it the heart or a lung
Or an eye.
or an eye.
Okay.
I like to poke things in the eye.
Mm-hmm.
It's my
While it is partially distracted in its fight with Johnson, I'd like to come up and attempt to drive my rapier beneath its, right between its first shoulder and its second leg in an attempt to hit the vital organ that should be there.
Okay. Okay. So let's see. You are using, what's your tough?
0.
Okay. But you do have a rapier, so that's good for 1. And then it sounds like you're trying to use your
it's clever.
You're
We're
clever,
trying to
right?
be clever.
What's your clever?
2.
2. So I give you +3 on that.
Okay.
Nice.
Oh, 13.
Woo!
So
13.
you do your shot lands true, but its fur is and its hide and its muscle is a damn sight thicker than you had anticipated, and it's merely a flesh wound. Let's see. So it goes. Leo, what are you? Sorry, not Leo. Johnson, what are you doing?
Oh well, I'm going to be using some of my earthly abilities to jump, but she's not going to expect me to jump high and jump over him and come down on him hard with the saber.
Oh, on the rear side, on the
Nice.
hindquarters.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so
using my strength and
gravity.
Yeah.
so
Because
let's.
I'm small, I look like a tasty snack, but I move like something it's not used to seeing.
Right, right, exactly. Yeah. So let's see. So I'll give you 1 for the leap. I give you 1 for the sword and 1 for your tough. Is there anything more I missed? Did I
Well,
miscalculate your tough?
I had a +3 before. Yeah, but I have a tough of 2.
Oh, I should probably write down your guys' stats so I know.
My tough is a 1. My clever was a 2. That's what it was.
Artac.
I had a 3 last time. How did I have a 3 last time? I had it for the sword.
Oh, because you had
because I was doing sword and pistol.
Oh, you have pistol
Yeah.
too, so that's another plus.
Yes, I'm gonna. Okay, there I'm a 4.
Okay, Artac, Johnson, and Leo have clever.
10.
Tough,
Close.
and noble.
I scratch across the shoulder.
You hear wow.
And like he kicks you with one of his hindquarters, but you're able to kind of roll with it.
Me.
Yeah. So it only does 1 point of damage to you. So let's see. Johnson's clever is what's
2.
Your 2?
I'm more clever
and
than
your
I am
tough is 1, and your
Correct.
noble is 0. And Leo, your noble is 2.
My noble is 1. My clever is 2.
Thank you.
We're a couple of clever guys.
And Artac?
We are.
So clever we walked out in the fucking wasteland by ourselves.
Yeah.
My clever is 1 and my tough is 2.
We're clever,
Excellent.
not wise.
Yeah. You
We're good with word puzzles.
Right. Right. You
The weekly crossword puzzles go by really fast.
tough and noble.
That's it.
And for crying out loud, 4 down was Banth this morning. Ugh.
Should have been thinking about this.
Artac, you're this is stronger than you expected it to be strong.
Mm-hmm.
What will you do?
He'll smile. That's what he'll do.
Yeah.
Only doesn't look like a
Use my
smile.
fangs.
He's huge under tusks.
Right. That's what we need to get an earth dentist over here to obviously make lots of money. So I'm going to, in addition to my tough and everything else, I'm going to try to be clever by maneuvering the Banth in such a way that I can try to do not necessarily a judo throw or fall, but basically using the rough landscape to and maneuvering with my strength to get it into a bad position where it will give me a better, clearer shot, or
you
get
want
it kind of
to and you
tangled
want to
up
throw it away from you. Is that right? Is that I mean, a judo throw is cool. I'm down with that.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Sure.
Okay.
You're going to use the thing's
So let's see.
strength and size against it.
Right. So you're gonna.
Yeah.
I'll give you clever and tough. You're gonna probably use your sword and strength too, right?
Yeah.
So that gets you to 5.
Mm-hmm.
You're a 5. You're a +5. That's a lot.
Okay. Oh.
Oh.
That's
Oh
not
my
a good
God.
Stop doing that.
So you go to turn and roll him, and he just you know how like a cat will like grab onto something and use its back legs and bite and it doesn't let go? That's what happens to you.
Ouch.
And you take 10.
That's what we call
you
a
take
fumble.
10 points of damage.
Wow. Okay.
So it's the difference between the roll, right, at the target number and the
I see.
and the
Okay.
roll. So that's why I'm
okay.
not really rolling any dice over here on my side.
Cool.
So the better you roll, the less damage you take.
Right.
Yeah.
And also what happens is for your opponents, they start with a difficulty score, and then you do damage to that difficulty score, so they get
And so it goes
easier.
down.
They get easier to hit. They get easier to.
And okay.
Right.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, good thing the one we're facing was already wounded.
Yeah.
Right.
Nils's radium ball in its head.
Oh, I think Nils missed shooting it, didn't he? Yeah.
Hit it with a 12.
I think I did.
I thought you rolled a 12.
Yeah, but
no, he rolled a 10.
Yeah.
Damn
it.
Damn
But
you,
it has taken
10-legged
damage
lion.
now.
Not from me, from you.
I'm about to do something that's not going to make it very happy.
That's good.
So Leo, you see this other thing happening, this other Banth, mauling a greenman sort of there behind you somewhere. What will you do, Leo?
Unfortunately, I'm currently trying to help my other friend survive.
You are? Mm-hmm.
So it is in my mind that it is best to finish this creature off as quickly as possible and then go help the other man in trouble.
Okay.
Because he is a man no matter his skin.
Not
being one of mixed heritage, I understand.
Not some filthy Thark. Okay, go ahead and are you attacking with your rapier, or what are you doing?
Yeah, so I pull my rapier out of its shoulder, and I kind of spin around behind it, and I want to try and get it to kind of pause for a second. So I'm going to step on its tail to get it to freeze for half a second, and in that moment, stab at it.
Okay. It sounds.
So I've got better accuracy.
It sounds a little. It sounds cleverish.
I mean, I'm definitely risking taking all of its aggro.
So I'll give you clever and sword, right?
Yeah.
So +3.
Come on.
9.
12.
10, 11, 12. Oh, you do another point of damage to it. Now it's getting upset. Because you pricked it and stepped on its tail. Yeah, it wasn't so much the rapier; it was the stepping on the tail. Johnson.
Yes, I don't know how. Yes, I'm not quite sure how clever I can be, but I'm coming in with sword and dagger. I mean, sword and saber and pistol.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd like to swing the saber around really get its attention, especially with the light gleaming off it, and then bring the gun up and shoot it in the head.
Oh, there you
Okay,
go.
I like that.
Reflect the sun
like,
off the rapier and have it do a little laser pointer thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, cool. So that's clever, tough. Let's see, for Johnson, that's clever and tough, so that's 3. That's pistol and sword, 4.
Right. Oh, there's the dim.
Ooh.
4 plus 10 is 14.
14.
And actually, it's 5 because you were giving me 2 for dual weapons. You'd been giving me.
I think I was giving you strength when you were using the sword. That's why.
Oh, okay.
I was giving your Earthman strength.
That's it. So it's a 14.
So that is a 14. You do 4 points of damage to it, and you like blast it in the as it's like kind of like looking. It gets its tail stepped on, whips around towards Leo, sees your sword, and like starts shaking its head, and you just shoot it right in the ear.
That's how we do it.
You see one of its paws go out and jump at the reflection.
So it takes 4 points of damage. It's pretty badly hurt. You can see the radium ball like lodged in its skull, and it turns and it runs towards the other one.
We're right behind it.
You're pursuing it? I love it.
Yeah.
He's pursuing it. I'm a little further behind.
Okay, so you're pursuing it. Because
he's going towards the green man struck.
You are.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you're even faster with your earth reflexes. So I'll let you. What do you want to do?
If I can, I'd like leap right over it and land and shoot the one that's fighting the green man, because I have a feeling this one's going to be scared of me.
Oh, so you want to run down towards the green man, jump over the bant that you just shot in the ear.
Use the bant that he's shooting as a springboard.
And then land and like try to rescue the green man. Blast the. You're shooting it with your radium pistol.
Yes, that seems to be working.
Okay, so I'll give you tough and pistol.
Very good.
So that's +2.
2.
+2.
Oh.
8. No.
8.
It was tipping.
So now
tipping like I'm dripping in paint.
Now it does let go of the green man and turns its attention to you, and you're sort of stuck. You find yourself stuck between these two beasts.
One of them's not going to want to tangle with me, is my guess.
It doesn't, but it swats
I'm hoping
at you.
It wants to fight the other one.
That
was my real.
They're like two like timid, one timid scratch that comes at you, and another one that's almost like startled. When you land there and blast at it with the pistol. So you take 2 points of damage.
All right.
Sorry, 8, 9, 10, 11, 4 points of damage. I don't think this one's been hurt.
No, I don't think the one fighting the green man has been.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Me too.
All right. Artak, this weird not a red man has just jumped into this fight for your life. What will you do? Artak?
He's jumped and he got smacked. I just want to point
he passed out.
He's temporarily unconscious from the blow.
It's the heat. The heat on Mars.
He muted himself.
Yeah, I think he muted himself.
He might be talking to his wife.
He was probably making.
Sorry,
Leo. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead, Artak. What are you doing?
So we've got. Did Johnson went down or just?
No, I jumped in to help you, and I missed, and the thing swatted me pretty hard. But I'm still.
Okay.
I've got 6 of my 12 left.
Right. So, being pretty. Well, I'm a green dark. I wade in with my sword, and since this person has jumped in the middle and has his attention, I'll try to run around, and because these are extra long, I can like attack his flank pretty easily, while his attention is to the front. So I'm being clever in that way to try to attack out of his sight, so I get my backstab is double.
Nice.
Okay, he thought you were cat food for sure.
Right.
So Art Tech, I'll give you clever, tough, swords, and strong. Clever, tough,
So it's 5.
swords, and strong. That's 5.
Good. Now just roll a 12.
Okay.
Pretty close.
That's there we go. That's 5, 14.
14. So
Beautiful.
2 points of
That's a good
damage to
roll.
him. All right. Leo, what are you doing there? You're maybe 200 meters away from what's going on.
Yeah, I'm not as fast as Johnson. I am a little bit faster than your average red man.
Okay.
But
right.
not by much.
Because of your partial
Exactly.
your partial Terran heritage, but you didn't grow up on Earth, so you don't have
Correct.
the benefit of the gravitational variance between the two planets.
Yep.
So
my muscles are a little bit better, but not. But yeah, nothing significant.
So what are you running down towards the fight?
That's what I'm doing.
Okay, running. Are you jogging or are you sprinting like all out?
I'd say I'm sprinting.
Okay.
I've realized that I am much slower than all of my companions.
Okay.
And I have a ways to go.
Okay. So
I'd like to get there before they die.
We'll come back to you.
That's legit.
Yeah.
Johnson, what do you got? What do you got?
What you got? I'm gonna go with clever, and I think I'm tough just because I jumped into this damn fight in the first place. But I'm gonna go with my clever because I want to do the same thing where I distract with my left hand and the shiny sword, kind of feint towards its face, so it's and kind of about to swat, and then you go bam right in the face.
Okay,
you're doing because the Thark just got its attention too. So.
Right. So you're doing this to the one that didn't
that hasn't fallen for the trick
that didn't try to eat you, and the other one is
sort of
is kind of like now like stalking like warily outside of the
fight.
Immediate melee.
The immediate melee, like waiting for its opening.
Yeah, well, I'll shoot you next. Just saying.
Okay, go ahead.
But I got that one that's tangled with the
Thark.
Green Man and I.
Okay, so let's see. What did I say? I said you give you clever and tough, sword and pistol.
3.
I think 4,
so
right?
4. Yep. 9. I'm just not very good. I keep adding a little dice in there.
Yeah.
No, that might have. No, that wouldn't hit.
He hasn't got
just
enough.
Missed by 1. You take another point of damage.
I take a wound. Yeah.
As
because when I'm feinting with the sword, it actually clipped my hand with its claw.
Right. It swatted at that, and that's the wrenching on your wrist is what caused the damage. Artak.
So
it's so enthusiastic. That's what I respect.
Yeah. Well, I'm just thinking. Okay, why am I trying to save these vaguely red men? I can just run.
Well, they were trying to take your kill. Remember?
Right. So maybe I should just kill them.
And I mean, we just jumped in to steal the one who was killing you, so even more so.
They have helped. They have helped you. I mean, without Johnson's aid, you would have been Banth food for sure.
Yes. Absolutely. So I will attack. Basically, since I'm already well positioned and the not red man has his attention to the front, I will try to attack from the rear.
Okay.
I'm not coming up with anything terribly clever, so at this point, I think it'd just be a 4 instead of 5, like it has been.
Let's see. So sword, tough is 3, big
exceptions.
is 4, or sorry, strong is 4.
Right.
Yeah, it doesn't sound very clever, so I'll just give you +4.
Yep. Okay. Come on.
8, 12. 2 points of damage.
12.
Yeah, so they've had enough, right? The banths go bounding off into the hills here, and that's the way combat works. At least melee combat in the game. That's the base.
And you turn and see a very, very tired Leo.
So let's talk about rest and recovery, just so you guys understand how that works. Let's see here. See, I'm looking
here chatting to myself with myself on mute.
I hate when that happens.
At least it was a good conversation.
Oh my God, I'm the only one who finds this entertaining. Just every time I hear somebody's cat, I also hear, no kitty, it's my papa.
So Nils, if you could have, if you had 4 swords, you could get +4 in fighting.
Plus what?
+4.
+4.
Just for the swords alone, right? Because it's sword, sword. But then all you have is swords, right?
Right.
Whereas I'm like Mr. Frog.
Which was super cool in my mind's eye. I really loved the whole jumping on Mars thing.
Oh yeah.
Those banths have got to be pretty high up there on toughness.
They were. They're like one of the most
alpha predators.
They are alpha
predators.
No,
I'm not complaining. I'm just thinking if they had a hit point, they had a health of 12. You're hard pressed to get much more than that on any kind of routine basis.
Yeah.
Well, I think we rolled.
I rolled shit.
I mean, I had to roll an 11 and a 10 to hit the thing, so.
Yeah.
Which is fine. I like the challenge.
Let's see. Damn it. I'm not finding the recovery section. I know I read about it, and let me just do a quick find here.
But it just gives perspective on how tough these creatures were.
Here it is. It's on page 1 where we're talking about health. So you can recover, let's see. If you get to 0 health, you die. Spend an uninterrupted night in a safe spot to regain all of your health. If your rest is interrupted, you gain a d6 or a d3 instead. And you may also recover a d6 health once per day for a restful, contemplative, or joyful scene, like a feast, nap in the sunshine, a memorial of a fallen comrade, those types of things.
Walking by.
But it's your responsibility to initiate such a scene, which the game master could disallow if the situation isn't conducive to such. Right, like in a heated battle, you couldn't say, you couldn't try to initiate it like in the middle of something that didn't fit with the fiction, if that makes sense.
My companion died. Berserk Rage, +6 hit points.
Oh, right. Well, that might be
yeah,
contemplative. All right.
Certainly reflective.
So you guys are met in the hills about Dunhor. You've driven off the fiercest beasts in the land and nearly didn't live to tell the tale.
It was close. It was a close fought thing.
By the way, I did the math. The distance from Dunor to Petarth, is almost exactly 1 month.
On foot?
On foot.
At going like 3 miles an hour?
Yep.
Yeah, but if you are mounted.
Oh, if we're mounted, it'd be faster, sure.
The
eight-legged horses.
Yeah, the 8-legged horse things, the thoats. I'll send you a picture. I'll put a picture of thoats in a minute. Because Franzetta's done some thoats too.
Mm-hmm.
Mars, Franzetta. Mm-hmm. Here it is. It's crazy because I could just look at his stuff all day.
Yeah, I have a couple books packed away in the garage I've not seen in years.
If you do find them, I wouldn't mind taking a look at them.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Aha!
Six-legged. I'm mistaken. Sorry.
No, that is 8 legs.
Is it? Oh yeah, there it is. You're right.
Yeah,
Good. My
legged.
memory isn't
The
that bad.
thoats. There's a green man stealing off Deja Thoris.
Because she's hot.
Mars.
Well, what do you guys what will you guys do? You don't have to role play it out. Just paint with broad strokes if that's easier.
Well,
So,
go ahead. I was
Um,
yawning mostly, so please go ahead.
Okay. I didn't want to interrupt your yawn. Artak will, having been severely taken to task by the band, will push himself up and walk over and say, somewhat pound his chest because he doesn't want to knock himself over and say, Artak, Jarkor, I was hunting those, and while I might have begrudged you the kill, I certainly do not begrudge you your help for protecting me. I have a camp nearby that is a relatively safe, that we can rest in safety and heal our wounds.
Sure.
And I'm sure we have tales.
Tell me.
I love the sound of it.
Tell me a little bit about your camp.
So it's because we're kind of aren't we kind of in a hilly area?
Yeah, very, very hilly.
Okay. So it's actually kind of, as you said, in an escarpment, kind of almost like a cliff. And in that, there's like a little declivity. That's a word. Not quite a cave. Okay. It's about 15 feet up off the ground. So it's not too many things can get up there easily, or at least not without warning.
Okay.
And I've set up my camp out there, and there's enough room for these small men.
Right, because there's plenty of room up there for you, and these little ones don't take up nearly as much space, right?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think you guys can rest and recover there in Artak's declivity. Is that what we called it?
I think
I'll
so.
look that up.
A word?
Declivity, and recover all of your health for a well-deserved rest. Declivity.
And Leo perform his standard nightly ritual of.
Oh no, I'm completely miswrong. Downward inclination, a descending slope. So that's not what I was meant, but basically, kind of just almost a cave.
Yeah, I see it as a sort of a steep ravine.
I don't know. I'm willing to. I'll accept declivity for the camp.
That's just a hill.
Yeah.
It's not any kind of, it doesn't provide any kind of protection from anyone wandering.
I see where you are though in my mind's eye. So that's cool. I got you. All right. So resting and recovering. The new day dawns. Your wounds are bandaged. Your muscles are sore. You weren't again like hit points in most games. It doesn't necessarily represent grievous wounds, just your closeness, your nearness to taking such grievous wounds, right?
Certainly.
Your stamina, your fortitude.
Yeah, all of that, all of that. So what what is your plan now?
Well, we've informed our attack about what our mission is and what we were hoping we could hire him to help us with, and we would like to get a hold of some thoats, and we think we'd like to move in a fairly stealthy manner across the desert to this other city with our official documents and our secret mission.
Okay. Um, sure, you can thoats aren't too difficult to come across. Sometimes they're even found roaming the wild like wild horses. But I think that Artak might have a have a small thoat train.
Mm-hmm.
Not uncommon for
He's a traveling
what
thoat.
do they
As
call
a
them?
traveler.
He's a nomadic people to have many mounts with them. So you could do that, and we said it would take a month, so it probably takes 2 weeks. So,
You say 2 weeks? You cut out there.
yeah, 2 weeks, 2 weeks.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
It means that you'll arrive in Patarth uh, without the offense of the pirates, the air pirates. But what other challenges will you face on the way?
Actually, none. It turns out it's a quiet season.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you do.
There was a sandstorm for a little while, but we dodged it.
All right.
Oh, I'm hoping. Yeah, I'm hoping we survive the first couple of days, let alone 2 weeks.
Yeah, because obviously Artak snores horribly and keeps you awake all night.
Yeah, I'm more worried about lions, tigers, and bears. Oh my.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Um, so you do arrive in Patarth. Um,
Yeah, we do. Wow. I was just
Look
giving you
at
grief.
that.
it's 2 weeks of hard, difficult travel, but having a greenman as your guide, you know, it's a it's an opportunity to really respect their craft,
Their
their their ability to survive in the harshness of the deserts.
Mm-hmm.
And on the flip side, uh, Artak, you like super impressed with, or what's impressive about Johnson is, his strength and his stature and his stamina for such a small thing. And Leo always seems to know the right thing to say to you when to leave you alone, right? It's so it says, you become close in a way, in this journey from Dunhor to Patarth.
So I'm sure you'd never dare consider yourself close with a red man.
With the nobleman of Dunhor.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Certain, but you could certainly have respect for.
Indeed. Now, as a question, does Leo know how green men are typically considered in Patarth?
Yeah, raiders, brigands, outlaws, and bandits, if not worse. So my question for you as you approach the city and the gates is, what will you do?
Well, what is Artax? Because that's the reputation they have in our city as well. But Artax is sort of he has his own niche, right? Our people in our city understand that he's not
He
going to
does, and
raid, burn, and pillage.
he's not with a war band, right? And it's
Right.
not uncommon to see you know, a Greenman delegation or trader or something like that, and even within the walls of Dunhor, it's just it's dangerous, right? It's like an
Right.
alligator being at
Gotcha.
Disneyland.
Gotcha. Okay, so I was just wondering if maybe he had that sort of same reputation here, where people knew him and that he wasn't going to be
That's
chased
the
out, but
culturally that's kind of the way it would work. You know,
regardless, okay.
he might be able to get into the city um, alone. He might be able to get into the city. Uh, uh, he wouldn't be able to get into the city with a warband behind him or as a member of a warband because that's like asking for trouble.
That's right.
That's like 34 alligators in Disneyland. Nobody wants that.
And putting him in the nursery.
Right, right. And the small world ride.
I would pay money to see that.
And but being accompanied by a nobleman, I can think of the top of my head a few different reasons why, on the pretext of why a nobleman from Dunhor might travel with a Greenman
So
and an Earthman.
he can stay with us then.
My guide and my bodyguard.
Yeah, I'm not a very effective one, but I'm working.
Okay,
You
so
just haven't spent enough time using your muscles.
What's it? I'm still acclimating.
Mm-hmm.
you make it to you make it into the city of Petarth. They're not at all happy to see you, mostly because you're bringing a Greenman uh, inside the walls, um, but
But we
also
have official
but
papers.
also because you have official papers, right? And you're from Dunhor,
Yeah.
and there's like a rivalry, a tension between these two cities, but they respect your credentials. But why don't you um, what will you do when you first enter the city, Leo? That's my first question.
Mm.
I'm going to follow Leo's lead because he would know the proper customs and things, and so I'm going to
Right,
follow his lead 'cause I don't know
Mm-hmm.
where I am, and part of my clever of two is that I'm very adaptive, and
right,
I'm trying to read my situation, and I don't want to come in and do anything offensive,
right,
despite
Mm-hmm.
the fact I am an American.
right. So
Yeah, I.
it's like walking into a very different type of city, right? It's like going from San Francisco to Portland kind of difference, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, they're different places. There's some common structures and architecture, but it's for you, Johnson, it's like being in a brand new place, you know.
Yeah, because everything here is alien to
Right, exactly, exactly.
So I will. I assume there's a city gate.
Yeah,
Um,
that's the main gate is where you first arrived,
sure.
and you've come into
Um,
the and you're about to make your way into the city proper. And I guess my question is for you is,
mhm.
what's the first thing you do when you enter the city?
Yeah. So the first thing I do is I show my papers to the gate guard,
Mm,
um, basically telling him that I'm here on official business, and I would like to, if you could inform the commander of the guard that I'm here and
Okay.
ask him to send one of his aides to let. I don't know what the ruling party is in Patarth.
The Jeddak of Patarth. So Jeddak is kind of like not quite a king, but more like a prince.
Okay.
There aren't really any. There aren't any single rulers of the Red Men here on Mars. Just like city states.
Okay. So that he can send aid to the Jeddak of Patarth to inform him that I've come to speak with him on behalf of the Jeddak of Dunor.
Okay, why don't you make for me a challenge roll?
Okay.
We'll make it hard.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll give you, well, no, we'll make it moderate, and I'll give you your noble. See how it's successful.
And you got paperwork. That always helps.
Oh, and the paperwork, I'll give you noble +1.
Okay, so that's a total of +2 then.
Oh, and you have your special cloak, right?
I do have my cloak.
Okay, so that's another +1. So that's noble +2.
Okay, so +3 total. 9.
Yeah, so they don't try to block your entry to the city. They don't try to impede your progress in any way. They kind of respect your status and station because they're a lower class than you are, right? They're city guards. They're not anywhere near you in class or stature. And the captain of the guard comes out and greets you and is all very stiff and formal. And he marches you off to quarters that they have prepared for you. But they're in a shitty part of town, right? Down near the thoat stables, and they say, well, you have to stay here because you have your thoats with you, and
that's cool.
It's
we all know it's open racism because we're traveling with the green men, but we're not going to say it.
Right.
My father was an abolitionist. All right.
Right. So you've seen this type of thing before, Johnson.
It's everywhere you go.
It's everywhere you go.
Right. And being a bastard child myself, I'm not unused to.
Yeah, you're not unused to these social
slights,
injustices. Yes. Maybe they're not quite injustices. Slights is probably
not quite
better.
Injustice, but slight is
Yeah. And he leaves you there, and he says something to the effect of, "I'll inform my Jeddak that you have arrived."
Thank you.
Cool. Besides, we like this part of town. It's where it has a better restaurant.
Better restaurants, more lively, more a better nightlife.
Hookers.
Well, I think that maybe this is a good place to stop because I want to do some prep for the next session, which will be kind of the culmination of the scenario and the kind of the wrap of the playtest. There are 2 other things that I want to test in the game, in the scenario, but I really appreciate you guys, willingness to sort of jump in and try something different and new.
Oh, hell yes.
Yeah.
So maybe we could why don't we do our regular hits and misses, and we'll start with Nils, with Artak, because we haven't heard from you in a little while.
Let's see. Hit. I enjoyed playing in this setting. Obviously, it's a setting that I know a lot about and have read most of the books. But as Aaron did say, they get kind of samey after the second or third. But and so it was fun to see how it turned out for ourselves. The misses was, I noticed that the combat kind of got, and I guess it kind of, to me, it seemed a little bit repetitive because we were kind of coming up with, getting the same bonuses every time. I guess that would kind of encourage narrative storytelling because you have to come up with a new way to justify your bonuses.
Right.
Maybe, which we weren't doing quite so much, but So maybe if you, as a GM, required a new reason each time to get your tough or your strength or something like that, that might make it a little bit more interesting.
Or at least a description.
Right.
Yeah.
The you always get your tough in a melee, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and then with the distracting shooting attack that Johnson was using, um, I rationalized that as being okay because it was against a new opponent, right? He hadn't that Banth hadn't seen that happen yet. So, but after that, maybe not, right? So, I think you're right that I like the idea of, give me something new, give me something different, to get all your bonuses. So that's good feedback. Thanks, Nils.
Mm-hmm.
How about for you, Peter Johnson? Hits or misses for tonight?
A big hit was having the four of us all back together. I still miss Mike, but I don't know if he would have gotten into this. Big hit was with, as Nils said, the setting. Hadn't played it and read it in eons, but always loved it. It was always one of my favorite fantasy worlds.
Yeah,
so it was nice to play in the sandbox, and I like helping you on games you're going to do in a convention.
Yeah, so. I don't do enough of that. Kind of like the prep work. It's a little harder on the miniature side, but for a role-playing game, it makes, for something new, well, let's try it out. Let's see how it's going to work. So it didn't sound like there were any misses for you other than maybe
bad rolling. It's just
bad dice.
Yeah,
Stupid dice.
And I think just finished painting Rakul. So.
Oh, awesome! I can't wait to see that. And Ahmed, right?
Yeah, Ahmed. I'll get pictures of him tomorrow in better light. But yeah, Ahmed's done.
Right on. Okay.
Rakul's got this little tiny parchment on his shield, and I need to write something in it.
Ooh, worth Mayan. It's long. That's way too long.
I think it's short in Latin.
Something like. All right. How about for you, Leo? How about for you, Ethan? Any hits or misses from the session tonight?
Yeah, for me, what I really liked about the character creation was the whole idea of the specials.
Right.
I think that kind of helped flesh out the character idea a little bit.
Cool.
I thought the combat mechanic where, they start at a certain difficulty, but as you hit them, that difficulty goes down, and so you take less damage, and it's a little bit easier to hit and whatnot. I thought that was a really interesting mechanic.
Yeah, it's different.
And I liked having to describe how it was you're getting your various bonuses, because I had basically no tough bonus. I had to come up with a way to get my clever bonus in at different times.
Sure. And I think that for me feels right, because maybe you could do okay in a fight if you could use your smarts, right? Doesn't necessarily mean that you need to use your brawn.
Yeah, and I enjoyed the little social interactions that we got thrown in there, because I've been learning that I like those interactions just as much as combat. So.
Oh, okay. Fun.
Yeah.
Fun. Well, I liked doing the character creation. I thought it was a lot of fun to help Ethan sort of flesh out his character. I thought that was
definitely.
I thought that was from a game master perspective, like, oh, this is how you could practicing that, right? Helping somebody build a character at the table with just a few stats and a couple of ideas.
Very much so. You're able to help flesh out my stuff.
How do we draw this out, right?
Exactly.
So
that was really helpful.
That was a hit. And then the other hit for me was Johnson's jumping when he first jumps away from the Banth and things like that. And then also the third hit for me was Nils's just general patience while getting him rolled into the story and finding a way to make that work.
Oh no, that's fine. Just as long as you guys just didn't take the airward the whole way and leave me behind. That's fine.
Well, we would have found a way without that. So,
Yeah.
But that was also that was also that was also a mental exercise on the GM side. Like, oh shit, how do we fit a Thark into the middle of this mess?
Right.
He's on the raiders who ambushed the airship.
Right.
That's a good idea too.
Or a prisoner on the airship,
I said
or
a prisoner on the airship, or a prisoner on the
maybe
airship that we're on, and so during the pirates' attack, he escapes.
Right. I mean, all kinds of things, right? There could have gone many different directions. I think my only miss was throwing the two banths at you guys for the combat because that was hard, but you made it.
We
So
got some lucky rolls in there.
that was great to see.
I had
They're
6 hit
almost
points.
they're banths and white apes are the two challenging
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's right.
two challenging beasts in
Which is, we all know that's where the Mugatu came from too.
the Mugatu.
Right.
The white ape from Star Trek that bit Kirk.
Oh, right, with the weird horn on its head.
Yep.
It didn't have four arms though, but it was still bad enough. Mugatu. Yeah, so good times, good times. I'm going to go ahead and wrap up the recording.